What advice do you have for leaders of sales, marketing, customer support, or CEOs?
Transactions where you exceed your promise,
Okay.
you at least live up to your promise.
Mhm.
You do not shortchange somebody,
Okay.
and that's how you become trustworthy. So, therefore, the fundamental issue that every one of us has to keep in mind
Yeah.
in enhancing relationship with anybody
Mhm.
is to become trustworthy.
Yeah.
That's by delivering fully on the promise,
Mhm.
exceeding the promise,
Yeah.
not shortchanging them,
Mhm.
and finally doing everything possible that the other party sleeps well, trusting you. That is
Fantastic.
the most important thing.
What are some of the common mistakes which people make when building a customer relationship?
Well, the most common mistake that all corporations do is overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah.
In our desire to bag a contract or an order,
Mhm.
we make all kinds of promises.
Mhm.
We do not for a moment think
Mhm.
whether we can indeed deliver those promises.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the customer, trusting that you will indeed deliver
Yeah.
your promise, takes your words
Mhm.
as promises.
Yeah.
And when you don't deliver on the agreed date,
Mhm.
the agreed quality, the agreed product, that's when they will say, I will never work with these people.
What are some of the new trends that you're observing about customer relationships? Any new trends that you are seeing in terms of?
First of all, the elapsed time of projects is reducing.
Okay.
20 years ago, if we went to a customer and said, this project will take 2 years,
Mm.
the customer didn't bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
He or she simply accepted it
Mm.
because everybody else was saying that.
Yeah.
But today, they have realized that trusting a vendor with projects worth several $1 million spread over 2 years, 3 years is risky.
Yeah.
So therefore, they have started splitting a large project into multiple small projects,
Okay.
each of which will have a deliverable
Mhm.
every 3 months or
Okay.
so. So therefore, we must become nimble.
Mm.
Second, because a lot of our applications are web-based,
Yeah.
whatever we produce
Yes.
could be seen by our competitors too.
Okay.
For example, if you developed a customer ordering system
Mm.
for a
Mm.
customer,
Yeah.
and that is web-based,
Yeah.
your competitors can go and check how many bugs are there,
Mm.
how good is the user interface.
Mm.
Therefore, they would use that as an ammunition
Mm.
to gain competitive advantage over you. So therefore, in these days of web-based systems,
Mm.
quality becomes even more important because there is transparency.
Absolutely.
So your focus on quality will have to be much, much higher.
So to
Third,
summarize,
third, see, most Indian companies compete on prices. The problem with competing on prices is your margins keep going down.
yeah.
If your margins keep going down, you cannot invest in R&D, you cannot invest in infrastructure, you cannot invest in hiring good people, training them, giving them good salaries, in quality processes, in technology, etc., etc. So competing on prices is not a good thing. However, the reality is that everybody else around you is competing on prices. Therefore, how do you make sure that you have enough money to keep your organization strong? The only way you can do is by improving your margins. If you want to improve your margins, then you must reduce your cost, because price is not something over which you have
Yeah.
any control because of the environment, because of your competitors.
Yes.
So therefore, productivity, work productivity becomes extremely important in today's.
Okay.
So these are the three things: elapsed time, compression, increased quality due to transparency and web-based development of software applications, and third, the need to improve margins in a highly competitive environment through improving work productivity. These are the three things that we need to do.
A good customer relationship.
No, I think there is learning from every customer. Absolutely, there's no such specific name I want to suggest. We have learned from every customer, small or big, Indian or Western, old technology or new technology. So in every area you learn from customers. Because remember one important thing: customer is the only entity in a corporation that puts food on the table for every employee of your company, day after day after day. Investors give you money only once when you have your IPO. Otherwise, they don't give you. It doesn't matter how well your stock is trading on the stock exchange. The company doesn't get any money from that. So therefore, we all have to listen to our customers very carefully, because as Sam Walton once said, the only real boss is our customer. The customer, by taking his business away from you, can fire anybody in the company, starting from janitor to the chairman. So therefore, we all have to realize the importance of customers. There are so many lessons.
If there was one thing, just only one thing, that you want the readers of this book to know about customer relationship, just only one thing, what would that be?
Well, as I told you, trust. You have to develop trust. Because all relationships are based on trust. Whether it is between husband and wife, between father and son, between boss and the subordinate, between peers, between teacher and student. Every one of these relationships is predicated on trust. Trust emanates from one's belief that the other party will act according to the agreement and that they will not shortchange me. So therefore trust is very important.
We are a small organization. We have done work with several customers, both in US, UK and in India. But what we find is that in Indian companies, it is much more difficult to sell the value of technology. we can show them that look, we streamline your sales process through CRM. We get your sales reps away from spreadsheets and into a proper system, and you can see the results through dashboards, reports, everything. But somehow it doesn't seem to resonate. What do you suggest for a small organization like ours? How can we start to grow in a market like today?
I hate to say this, but my own experience tells me that selling in India is very difficult. It is quite unprofitable because of various reasons. First of all, $1 equal to 66 rupees. Second, the revenues and profits of Indian companies are smaller compared to the Western companies. Third, the Indian companies do not have the wherewithal to invest in technology. Therefore, by and large, they have not realized the importance of gaining competitive advantage using technology. So, therefore, it is very, very difficult to scale up purely based on Indian business. Look at the top 5 software companies. What is the revenue from outside? 95%. I mean, look at any company, look at Infosys, look at TCS, look at Wipro, look at Cognizant, look at whatever else you want. It's very easy for all of us to say, no, India is the only market, this is greatest, everything. But if you look at data, the reality is 95% of the revenue of these companies, 90 to 95, some maybe, comes from outside.
Yeah.
Therefore, my suggestion to you people would be this. India will take some time and will become as important as developed nations, but that may take 10 years, 20 years. It will happen, there is no doubt. And we all want it to happen. But at this point of time, it is very important for you people to focus on global markets, particularly Western markets, not even China, because China has the same problem as India.
In China, language is a big barrier.
Language is a big barrier, but even if you hire Chinese, it is the same problems as India. And second, I would say that you have to benchmark yourself with global standards of quality, productivity, all of that, if you want to compete in global markets. And if you did that, get used to it, then competing in India becomes easier.
How do you get young skilled workers with ethics and sense of responsibility for their jobs? Since we know that a lot of youngsters are too casual, while our Prime Minister hopes the youth for developments.
No, I think the problem is not with youngsters. I personally feel that our youngsters of today are better than what we were. The problem is with elders. They are looking at elders. They are looking at senior corporate leaders in everything they do. But we, the senior leaders, are not leading by example. We are not practicing what we preach them. See, if we preach them the importance of austerity, and if we don't practice austerity, then the youngsters get confused.
Yes.
So therefore the problem lies with elders in this country, not with youngsters.
Okay.
That's what I think.
So I think second last question will be, how do you handle customers who are defaulting and whose ask and expectations are not reasonable?
Whose?
Asks and needs are not reasonable. Customers who default and
No, I think there are 3 fundamental tenets of any customer-vendor relationship. The vendor provides the agreed service on the agreed date with the agreed level of quality and at agreed price.
Okay.
That's first. Second, the customer pays the agreed sum on the agreed date without any further negotiation once the contract is signed.
Okay.
Third, both the parties must conduct every transaction in a pleasant way.
Okay.
That's all. These are the only three things.